Thank you, Sarah. That looks complicated. I couldn't play those games. How old do the kids have to be to play those games? 4 years old? Send them over to give me some lessons. Looks complicated. Our next speaker is Michael Brody. He is a fellow psychiatrist. He's going to be talking on video games, playing with sex and death. Dr. Brody is a child psychiatrist, a practicing child psychiatrist, and most importantly, he's chair of the Television and Media Committee of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. So he's the person who gives the input into the entire association about positions on media, controversies, and so on. He's a professor of American Studies at the University of Maryland, where he teaches a course on children and the media. His latest publications include Lost in the Web, Compulsive Video Gaming, and that's published in the current issue of the AMA Journal of Ethics. Another publication, Holy Franchise, Batman and Trauma in Using Superheroes in Counseling and Play Therapy. Sounds good, Michael. Michael Brody.
Even more importantly, I have a very large collection of not only Barbie dolls, but strawberry shortcake and our very nice friends. We didn't have iPods, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have video games. All we had was comic books, 1 billion of them. That's why in the early 50s, my childhood was shattered. The psychiatrist Frederick Wertheim, author of Seduction of the Innocent, in discussing his research, linked juvenile delinquency to comic book violence and succeeded in having certain comics banned, among them my favorites, Weird Science and Tales of the Crypt. I was traumatized. That was nearly 60 years ago. 20 years later, in the early 1970s, as a child psychiatrist, I found myself appreciating Dr. Wertheim's wisdom, as I alone evaluated every child that murdered another child in the District of Columbia, and noticed the correlation of heavy television viewing of violence and actual violent behavior. Playing with all the violence options enabled, I shot off enemies' legs. I shot off arms. I left chests and groins splattered with blood. Guts poked out of the hole. I had drilled in an enemy's midsection. Is this a war story being told by a traumatized Iraq veteran? No. It's a review of a newer version of one of the most profitable and violent video game franchises, Soldiers of Fortune. Video gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry, with revenues surpassing those of the music and film industries at $18 to $20 billion. Video gaming is only one facet of the whole computer revolution, as the internet, email, IMing, and electronic communities like Facebook and MySpace provide new forms of connection and self-expression for a younger generation. This participatory entertainment and communication, especially video gaming, sometimes enables unhealthy compulsive behaviors, as well as creating an ever more violent atmosphere in a society that already boasts having over 200 million privately owned guns and 1 of every 100 adults in prison. The Kaiser Family Foundation study found that 80% of boys aged 8 to 14 have at least one video game console, often in their bedroom. Soldiers of Fortune is only one of the most popular first-person shooter games, like Halo or Manhunt, where you control your gun sights and scores, reflect your number of kills. The new Wii system, with its easy-to-use wand, even allows for a very nice stabbing motion. Game playing is entertaining and engrossing. It's an immersion medium where the player becomes a part of the game's world through visual, audible, and physical integration. If imitation or modeling, as social learning research has shown, is a problem with television violence, extrapolate this to video gaming, where the audience becomes embedded in its very context. Kids who watch violent TV play more video games. Studies have shown that these games create intense autonomic effects, rapid heart rate, higher blood pressure, and increased aggressive thoughts. Boys who play a lot have lower self-concept, poor peer interactions, and perform poorly at school. The younger the child, the greater the chance of imitation of the game's character behavior. Blood, decapitation, guns, knives, mutilations, and death are presented in color, sound, and ever more realistic three-dimensional graphics. This short clip is actually a rip-off of CCFU, a video which you all have in your folder called M for Mature, okay, which Josh was so nice to send me. Okay, this is just a brief preview of
I have
that.
to be able to get the other one out. So.
Okay.
I thought that was already out.
Okay. Okay.
How many steps?
Another fucking flag kill. Shut the fuck up, dude. She'll let that motherfucker kill you. Oh, shit. Wait.
Oh, no.
Pleasure doing business with you. Marcus of Queensberry rules on, baby. Damn man. I'm gonna take your tongue out and lick my ass with it. You see that kid?
Check this out. It's on. Now let's get home and find out how much energy we've got left.
Again, all of you have a copy of this in your folder. Okay, it's a little bit longer. Piaget showed decades ago that learning and assimilation is enhanced with sensory motor activity, and this finding has been exploited through the development of the joystick, mouse, and now the Wii wand. Repetitive actions using these weapons become habits that are further reinforced through communal gameplay. As Jane Healy, a well-known educational psychologist, explains, habits of the mind become structures of the brain. The world of video games is Darwinian, paranoid, and control. There is no empathy. Studies have even shown that those who play video games contribute less to charities than non-players. There's no altruism in Twisted Metal or Resident Evil. Is it any wonder that the military uses these games to simulate combat?